Hello, world and universe. Welcome to the Trevor Donald Experience. Manifest your truth. And if you're new to the channel, please hit that like and subscribe button. And for my continued followers, I want to thank you. And man, we got to talk about this mass shooting spree that just took place near my hometown, Chicago, in Joliet, Illinois. I try to put up videos that sometimes have some connection to myself personally, whether Chicago, St. Louis, Oakland, California, Atlanta, Georgia, places like that. But man, what happened with 23-year-old ROMEO NANCE out of Joliet, Illinois, that went on a shooting spree that began at two houses across the street from each other. He killed two teenage girls, 14 and 16, two women, 20 and 38. A 31-year-old man was in the home he killed. 35-year-old man and a 47-year-old woman in another home. He killed his mother, he killed his aunt, he killed his uncle, and his brother, and three of his sisters. He shot another guy in the leg walking down the street after that. And then he drove to Texas, where he eventually shot and killed himself near a gas station when the police caught up with him and had him cornered. ROMEO NANCE had an extensive criminal history, and this video is important because there are a lot of people that are suffering from mental illness, whether they are young and or old, and with us not knowing the exact dynamics of what was taking place in his family. But I talk about all the chaos that's going on outside the house. You're seeing a lot of scenarios throughout this country where family dynamics are very tumultuous and explosive, negative, and are ending in gun violence and death. Conflict resolution, mediation, consciously thinking through issues and problems, whether it's with family or friends. Many of these young people today are choosing a very violent outcome on handling difficult times. And that is extremely disturbing. And I think some of this has to do with too many single parent households in the urban market, for sure. Fatherless homes, our poor, inept inner city educational system that is failing these children each and every day. Teachers unappreciated. The system is failing the teachers. And I think you're seeing a boiling and a brewing point where individuals' level of maturity and how to handle conflict is, in a good, positive learning way, is going straight out the window. And evidently this family must have had a huge amount of dismay and confusion and conflict, because how does a 23-year-old, and I'm not blaming the family, of course I'm blaming him, but how does a person as young as 23 get to the point where he kills his mother, his sisters, his uncle, his aunt? He ended up killing like 9 people. And these young folks are not looking for anything towards the future. We have too many young people, as I stated, that are uneducated, that are not learning a trade, that have no interest in going to school. All these young, especially men of color, boys of color, want to be rappers and entertainers. That's their only bucket list. And if that doesn't work out, it's straight to criminal behavior. And with his long criminal history, evidently his family has failed him. This was not the first time he's been in trouble. Where and what was his parents, and how was the rearing of this young man, ROMEO NANCE, his historical upbringing, how was that? there has to be a plethora of questions. But as I said to you before in some of my previous videos, love is an action and a verb. And just because you're born into a family, that does not mean you have to love them. You don't get to ask God who your family members are. And many kids throughout this entire world and country are born into some very trepidatious and tumultuous family dynamics where love is completely thrown out of the window. And I talk about manifesting our truth in a positive, righteous, and God-fearing way. And evidently, Romeo's family had some of this lacking. You have to be pretty damn angry to kill 9 family members, all within a 20 or 30 minute span. And you're seeing a lot, and here's the juxtaposition that I think is you see a lot of black males especially that will cause harm or kill people that look like them, people they know, and even family members. Well, with your young white counterparts that are teenagers, they have a tendency to go on killing sprees and kill random people. Occasionally you will hear young white males kill their parents. But if you look in the national media and in the media, you see a lot of scenarios where young white guys are going on shooting sprees at schools, at grocery stores, at the mall, and just taking their aggression out on random folks. However, as I said, with a lot of our black young people, they're killing people that look just like them, that look just like me, people that they know. 90% of murders that are being committed in these inner cities is by proximity and people that they know. So there is this duality and this dichotomy where you see a lot of young white guys that are going on these random killing sprees and they're killing strangers. But you'll see young black guys, they're killing their friends, family members, and people that they know. I think that's an interesting dichotomy. And I think the psychologists, the forensic psychologists, can give us a little explanation for that. But this is a very unfortunate circumstance that took place in Joliet, Illinois. And to be so young, I'm in my mid-50s. I have 3 children in their 20s, so he's in that same age group. And it's just heartfelt. Not only is it near Chicago, but for him to be such a young brother, person of color, and to think that the end-all be-all was to kill and then to kill himself, that he was at the final breaking point and he didn't see any way out, is extremely unfortunate. I talk about the 5 pillars that are destroying our country right now, and mental health is right at the mental illness is there, the opioid crisis, homelessness, inept inner city public schools, too much gun violence, and fatherless homes. We need to try to fix that as quickly as possible, because we're having our own world war in America, and civil unrest. And there is definitely a public safety issue that is taking place. To be that outlandish and egregious and just go on a murdering spree on a Sunday, football Sunday, and kill 8 or 9 of his family members, the devil is in full effect. And we need to start loving each other, having an understanding and relationship with God, manifesting our truth in a positive way. And we are losing, and especially our young folks, they are losing their humanity and their humanness each and every day. These stories are way too often, happening too often, and the end result is ending in death life in prison, suicide, and this gentleman's entire life was in front of him. In front of him. There's a difference between a 23-year-old doing life in prison and a 56-year-old doing life in prison. The 56-year-old, his life is mostly behind him, and hopefully he's been able to do everything he's wanted to do. The 23-year-old is just beginning. He just turned into a flower that's starting to blossom. And by the way, his 21-year-old girlfriend now has been charged with obstruction of justice. Her name is Kylie Singleton, and they had a 3-year-old child together. So what is going to happen to this kid? His father went on this murderous spree, killing his family members. Now the mother is going to jail for obstruction of justice. And then this 3-year-old baby is going to have all kinds of issues on who's going to raise the child. And then as the child gets older, to find out that the history, his familial history, has murder, mayhem, and chaos all intertwined. It's an unfortunate circumstance that's happening way too often in America, and we need to find a way to get many of these guns off the street. There's too much gun violence, too much robbery, chasing the bag by any means, too many carjackings, looting, shoplifting. We need to tighten up these liberal laws on conceal and carry and on minor crimes. And we need to improve our inner city school systems, pay teachers more. We need to pay police officers more. And we need to try to recapture and galvanize America back into a healthy place. There are several pockets throughout this country where there is an upheaval of crime and chaos. And this situation with ROMEO NANCE, 23 years old, is just the tip of the iceberg of all of these young people that are trying to navigate their way through life and not know up from down. And the way they're handling conflict is by as much death and destruction as possible, and it needs to stop. This has been a Trevor Donald Experience. Manifest your truth.